You know, inside your head, right this very second, there's a hidden drama playing out. Two characters are constantly talking, sometimes arguing, and they shape every single decision you make, from what you're going to have for lunch to your most deeply held beliefs. So let's pull back the curtain and meet these two lead actors running the show in your mind. All right, to get things started, here's a quick puzzle for you. Just let an answer pop into your head. Seriously, don't overthink it. What does your gut tell you? You got it? Okay. So, did the number 10 cents just spring to mind? If it did, hey, you are in very good company. That's the answer that comes to almost everyone, even to really, really smart people at top universities. It just feels right, doesn't it? But here's the twist. That intuitive answer, the one that feels so obviously correct, it's wrong. And this clever little puzzle is amazing because it reveals something huge about the predictable ways our own minds are designed to fool us. The correct answer is actually 5 cents. Think about it for a sec. If the ball is 5 cents and the bat costs $1 more than the ball, the bat is $1.05. Add those together and you get $1.10. The math isn't hard. So the really important question here is, why does our brain so confidently leap to the wrong answer? Well, to answer that, we have to look at the incredible Nobel Prize-winning work of a psychologist named Daniel Kahneman and his partner Amos Tversky. They figured out that we basically have two very different agents or systems of thinking that are always at work inside our heads. Okay, so meet the stars of the show. First, you have System 1. Think of it as the hero of the story. It's fast, it's automatic, it's all gut feeling and intuition. This is the character that yelled out 10 cents in a flash. Then you've got System 2. He's kind of the lazy sidekick. Slow, requires a ton of effort, and he's deliberate. He's the one who could have checked the math, but, he usually can't be bothered. And this brings us to a really mind-bending idea from Kahneman. We all like to think that we're in charge, right? That our conscious, thoughtful self is the one calling the shots. But the reality is, most of the time, it's our intuitive System 1 that's secretly pulling all the strings. Just think of System 1 as your mind's autopilot. It's what lets you instantly recognize your friend's face in a crowd, finish the phrase peanut butter and, or know that 2 + 2 = 4. All of this happens instantly, with basically zero effort. We couldn't function without it. Now, System 2 is the one you have to wake up when things get tough. Like when you're trying to figure out 17 times 24, or parallel park a car in a tight spot. But System 2 has one big, defining personality trait. It is lazy. It is designed to take the path of least effort. So if System 1 serves up a quick, easy answer, System 2 is usually more than happy to just go with it, instead of doing the hard work to check if it's right. Now, this division of labor works great most of the time. It's efficient. But what happens when our fast-acting hero, System 1, tries to tackle a question that it's just not built to handle? Well, that's when we get into some real trouble. You know how your eyes can be fooled by an optical illusion, right? Well, it turns out our minds can be fooled in the exact same way by what are called cognitive illusions. And these aren't just random slip-ups, they are predictable, systematic errors in our judgment that are basically hardwired into the way we think. So how in the world does System 1 make these split-second judgments? It uses mental shortcuts, or what psychologists call heuristics. Think of them as simple rules of thumb. They're incredibly useful most of the time, but they can also lead us straight into making some big mistakes. And here is the master trick that System 1 uses all the time. It's a process called substitution. When you're faced with a hard, complex question, your mind, totally behind the scenes, swaps it out for a much easier one. And the craziest part is, you don't even notice the switch. You just confidently answer the easy question, thinking you've tackled the hard one. So let's take a look at how this plays out in the real world. Because these aren't just fun thought experiments. These are predictable errors in thinking that affect every single one of us every single day. First, we have to talk about a crucial concept with a really funny name, YCICA. It stands for What You See Is All There Is. Here's what it means. Your System 1 is an amazing storyteller, but it can only work with the information that's immediately available. It doesn't stop and ask, hey, what important facts am I missing here? Nope. It just takes the evidence it has and instantly weaves the most coherent story it possibly can. All right, let's put YCAT to the test. I want you to meet Steve. Just listen to this quick personality sketch and let a picture of him form in your mind. Okay, got an idea of who Steve is? Now, based only on that description, which job seems more likely? Go with your gut, your system one answer. Is Steve a librarian or a farmer? I'm willing to bet your system one immediately screamed librarian. It just fits the stereotype so perfectly, right? But in making that connection, it completely ignored a massive piece of information it couldn't see, the base rate. The simple fact is that there are way more male farmers in the world than there are male librarians. So statistically, Steve is far more likely to be a farmer. This classic mistake is called base rate neglect. Okay, think that's wild? Check out this even more powerful example. Imagine you're a judge with years of experience. Your whole job is to be objective, to make decisions based on facts and the law. Well, researchers put this to the test. They had judges roll a pair of dice right before deciding on a jail sentence for a shoplifter. Now, these dice were loaded to only land on a 3 or a 9. The results are, well, they're staggering. The judges who rolled a 9 gave an average sentence of 8 months, but the ones who rolled a 3, they gave an average of only 5 months. That completely random, totally irrelevant number acted as a mental anchor, and it unconsciously pulled their professional, expert judgment right along with it. So if our minds are this vulnerable to all these hidden biases, are we just doomed? Are we just stuck making bad calls? No, not at all. The secret is learning when to wake up that lazy sidekick, System 2, and actually put it to work. So here's a quick 4-step checklist. First, you have to recognize the signs that you're in a cognitive minefield. You know, a situation where your intuition is likely to fail. Are the stakes high? Are you emotional? That's your cue to slow down. Literally, just pause. Force yourself to engage that lazy System 2. Next, question your gut feelings. Ask yourself, what info am I missing? Fight back against that YCIAT effect. And finally, try to get an outside view. Look at the actual statistics, the base rates, not just the story that feels good. Look, let's be realistic. You can't spend your life second-guessing every single thought you have. You'd be completely exhausted. The most powerful tool you have is simply awareness. Just knowing that these two characters exist and that this drama is constantly unfolding in your head is the biggest and most critical step you can take toward making better judgments. So, I'll just leave you with this. Now that you've been properly introduced to the impulsive hero and the lazy sidekick that live inside your mind, which one are you going to let call the shots?